Hi, I'm Vicki Harchick,
And I'm Joyce Kelly, and we're from the Garden Club of Mansfield.
and today we're going to do a little program on making a container garden and share the little that we know about it with you. So when you start with a container garden, the first thing you need is your container, and we're using some big clay pots. You can use those things that have the coconut coir in them. You can use a lot of different kinds of things, but you want to arrange for some kind of drainage in your pot. This pot has a hole in the bottom of it, and we're putting some rocks, or you can use rocks or gravel, big rocks, small rocks.
You can buy something or you can just get something out of your yard.
If you live in Mansfield, you can definitely get it out of your yard. You just are looking for a place for the water to drain into so that if your soil gets really wet, it doesn't get completely soggy. Gravity is going to help it fall down, so then your plants won't rot. So, first thing we do is we put in our gravel about 2 inches.
Yep. If you have drainage, a little over an inch would be fine. You don't, just a layer.
And the next thing we're going to do is a little trick that I learned a long time ago, especially if you have a really big, heavy pot. And the plants that we're planting in here, they don't need their roots to go all the way down there. So I'm going to fill it in with a little bit of styrofoam peanuts, packing peanuts. And what I did was I just put some in a regular plastic grocery bag. Just pop it in there, not too much. And I'm just going to tie a loose knot in it. Doesn't have to be waterproof or anything. And I'm just going to pop it in there like that. All right. Now, what that's going to do is just displace some of the space that we put the soil in. So your pot will be a little less heavy.
So less soil, less heavy.
Exactly, especially when it's filled with water. So I'm not filling the whole bottom. I want the water to be able to still get around and drain on the bottom. So, okay. Yeah, we're going to put some of this soil in. Let's talk a little bit about soil. This is from the garden center. It's already fertilized. It's called potting soil. You do not want to use soil just directly from your garden. It's going to be way too dense. Every time you water a planter, it compacts the soil a little bit, and your plant's roots need air. The soil needs to be loose so that the roots can push through them and they can get the air and the water.
What I'm doing right now, so you'll get clumps. Just break them. They break up very easily.
If you do want to use soil from your own garden, then what you're going to do is you're going to need to put in something like perlite, which I'm sure you've seen when you buy a potted plant. You see those little white specks in the middle of the soil. That's perlite, and it doesn't really add any nutrients or anything. It just kind of adds that airiness to it, and peat moss would help with loosen up your own soil. But we have, right from the bag, this already has fertilizer in it, so we don't need that. But if you were using your own soil, or if you use potting soil that didn't have fertilizer, you can throw some of these time release. There's a lot of brands of these. Time release fertilizer, you would mix that a little bit in there right now. And this pot is going to be out in the sun. It's a big, heavy pot. It's going to heat up a lot every day. So we're going to add some of these moisture crystals. They're little white crystals, and they absorb like about 20 times their weight in water. So we measured out the right amount. We're going to sprinkle that in. Well, let's just show where we are. We're about this far up in the pot, like maybe 4 or 5 inches below the bottom of the pot, because we want this to be down where the roots are going to be. And on those really hot days, this will just help keep the moisture in the plants near those roots. now,
Then we're gonna fill up the pot till about an inch, 2 inches from the top. Dump this in. And make a mess.
yes, well, that's half the fun. Okay, let's stop right there. Maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
How about this stuff on my paper? There we go. All right, so we're gonna leave a little bit of space on the top for playing with right now while we figure out what we're doing, otherwise you'll end up falling all over yourself.
Yep.
And now we get to the fun part, get to look at what kind of plants we're going to choose. So when you're looking for plants to put in your pot, one of the most important things is to make sure that your light requirements are similar. Like I said, this is going to be a sunny pot,
Yep.
so we want things that aren't going to get burned because they're shade plants. So we've picked,
So first of all, you're gonna know where you're gonna put your pot.
that's a good point. That's a very
You know.
good point.
It's gonna be in the shade, or if it's gonna be out in the sun. That's your first decision.
And what we also realized is if you have a huge pot like this, you might want to do this whole process where you're going to put the plant or close to where you're going to put the
So
plant.
you don't have to move it.
You don't have to move it a long way if you don't have somebody to help. All right. So when you get to this fun part of deciding what to go in, there are some guidelines, but really Joyce and I are not fussy gardeners. We're a little bit more anything goes kind of gardeners, so we'll share some of what we know, but we're a little bit mavericks as well.
But when doing these, there are three different kinds of plants. You want to do a thriller, something high,
These.
a filler, something for here, and then a spiller, something that's going to come over the pot. That's will make it look very nice.
So generally, you probably want to put your thriller, your tall thing in the center. Unless, of course, you're planning on putting this pot like in a corner.
Yes,
you're
up
not going
against
to
the-
really
up
go
against the
around the
wall.
back. Then
Yep.
you could put it in the
Put it
back
right in
and
the
you have
back.
a lot more space to put things trailing over in the front, but it's completely up to you. Symmetrical, not symmetrical is completely up to you. We found out when we were practicing that we're on opposite ends of the
opposites.
scales. She's like, it's got to be symmetrical. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
So whatever you like. Okay, get this out. Okay, this is obviously going to be our thriller.
So we're just gonna, what we're gonna do first is just audition plants. We're just gonna put them
Yep. We're gonna
where
find out-
we think they wanna be, instead of planting something and then going, oh, I don't really want that there, and having to rip it up and move it somewhere else.
Lay it all out.
So we think this.
Yep.
We also have liatris.
Yep, which is tall.
This,
Two or one.
what did we call this?
Spikes.
Dracaena. This is an annual, but the liatris is a perennial. Do you wanna
So
put
if
two
you
liatris
put
in
perennials in your pot, at the end of the season, you can take them out of the pot and plant them in your yard, and then they'll come back every year.
You probably want to do that like around September, so they have enough time to establish themselves for the
Before the
winter. If
winter.
you pop
Yep.
them in October, they're probably not going to make it through the winter. But
Yeah.
get them in there, or you can, take a lot of the soil from the pot and transplant them. That won't shock
So
them
this
too
is
much.
our thriller.
So we
Then-
also had
What else do we have?
lavender,
Ooh, that's nice too.
and we thought that's going to grow a little high.
Yep. Throw in one of those.
Got to look at the tags on the plants and see what the height is on different things, the heights and the requirements.
Smells so nice.
So like this is the tallest one now. Liatris, that could get up
That
just
could
as
get- that can
tall,
get
even
tall,
taller
yeah.
than this. The lavender also, the lavender might bush out a little bit, but the lavender flowers come up like little spikes, so they'll come out too. And just smell
No, I
that.
can smell it from here.
Smell that, it's so good. You want this.
You do want lavender.
You want this. You don't know it yet, but you want
want
this.
Too bad this wasn't smell-o-vision.
I know. All right, so there's our
And
thrillers.
then we need our
Spillers.
my
We have, oh, this one's pink. We wanted a purple one, right?
purple. I got purple right here.
Purple. This is a petunia. This one isn't blooming yet, but we know what it would look like. But we thought that the purple would look really nice with the kind of orangey yellow pot, sort of the opposite color scheme. You can play with the colors, you can play with the textures of the leaves, the different sizes that you have. There's a lot of things that you can play with, and as we said, there's really no
In case we
one
forget
thing.
later, when you put in your spiller, you don't have to put it in up like this. You can put it in so it kind of sideways, so it gives it more of a chance to spill.
Right.
So we're going to put
Gives
this.
it a head start.
Yes, we're going to put this in kind of diagonal.
Right. A lot of the pots that you'll see at the nurseries, they'll have like 3 of these and another kind in there, you know, and it's just really full and spilling over, and that's great. You can go to the nursery
Oh, you don't have to.
and get something like that someone's already done for you. This is a chance to kind of build your own and
Do what you like.
do what you like, exactly.
Okay.
Also, even a pot with just a single type of plant in it can be fabulous. I learned about one pot, somebody took lily of the valley, which is this plant right here, and they did an entire pot of it. This can be a little bit of invasive in your woodland area, which is sometimes desirable, sometimes not, but put in a pot. It's a beautiful container. It's nice foliage for the rest of the year, and in May, you've got these gorgeous little flowers in a beautiful shady pot. Okay, so you can keep your colors monochromatic. You can play with having different colors of leaves. We've got a little bit of an orangey, reddish color in the leaves that kind of picks up the color in the pot. And so we have we have another spiller also. This is
the vinca.
Vinca.
The vinca vine. I like the vinca vine. And this also has purple flowers on it also.
little tiny
Tiny.
purples. These are very common planter, spiller type plants.
Okay. We're going to put this on this side. Put this over here.
Yeah, what do you think when I do like a little bit?
Do it like this. There you go.
So
So
this
this
one
is-
is going to
yeah.
spill over the front
And
more.
this is why you don't plant right away, so you can move things around to see
so I
exactly
can
how you
say,
want it.
didn't need to be so
That's not
symmetrical.
that. I know. This is killing me.
I know. So you can buy plants in the nursery this time of year. It's a good source for that. We've heard that proven winners are very good for containers.
PWs. They usually come in a white container.
But this plant is Veronica, baby blue eyes. I dug this up out of my yard. It's a ground cover. It's perennial. And we thought that we might put some of that in, maybe
Okay, back here.
more to the back. And that will probably spill over a little bit too.
It's definitely spilling.
Yes, it is. This is Dusty Miller,
Dusty
which is a kind of an
Miller's.
artemisia. It's got that really beautiful frosty
Where would you like to put this?
leaf.
I'm going to put these on this side and those on that side.
Yeah.
Make you happy so we can, do different stuff.
Okay, that would be good. Actually, how about this one
Ooh,
right in the
that's
middle
nice.
there?
There you go.
How
All
about
right.
3?
All right.
1, 2,
There we go.
3. And this is a lobelia, very low-growing, tiny bright blue flower. Again, kind of keeping, this is more of a blue and green. A little bit of purple in the leaves as well. And one over here. Does that look good?
Looks good to me.
All right, yeah, I think that's looking pretty good.
Oh, I like it.
All right, these gloves are not working for me. 'Cause I need to feel the dirt. I do, I feel much better when I feel the dirt.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at this. I think it looks pretty good
Yep.
all the way around. These are gonna kind of trail down when they get a little bit bigger. These will get a little bit higher. These will start to get higher. We have a mix of annuals and perennials. So I think we're ready to
I
pot.
think we're ready to pop.
All right, so what we want to do now is kind of take them
There.
sort of out where we leave the ones in the center. Take them out
just gonna
so we
take out-
know,
take it out
so
the-
we
what you
remember
call
where
it.
we put them.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
I can show how to break it up.
A lot of times when you get plants from the nurseries, the roots, it's what's called root bound. The roots grow down and then they start to grow around and around because they're in this small pot for so long. So what you want to try to do is tease away some of that and pull those roots apart. You can just rip through it, but I just feel that's kind of mean to the plant. I like to try to just pull out with my fingernails a little bit
nice.
and see if I can get some of these to hang down. Certainly there's enough rootage there that, see, now I got some nice roots. These roots are going to go down into the soil and spread out, and they're going to grab more water. If you don't do this at all, then it's a lot harder for the plant to absorb water. We also started with, we gave all of our little plants a drink before we started, so this is wet. So when I put this into this otherwise somewhat dry soil, it's going to be okay. So that's a good one to show you how to pull the roots apart. So we've done that on our, and we're looking to get the top of the pot about even, the top of the pot of the plant we took out, about even with the top of the pot that we're putting it into. So you can just kind of rip up the side a little bit, kind of spreading it out like that.
Okay, and once you're done doing that with all your plants, then you can start potting.
Let's see.
Okay.
I'm going to do that right there. Here's our big spiller. I'm going to rip that
We
right
need
up
to,
the side.
Dig a little hole. Put this in a little
Need
sideways.
a little bit of dirt, so like that. There we go. Okay. Ooh, this one's very root bound.
And then just put everything back to where you had it in your plan.
Right. This one is more wet. I'm going to use this one. Go. We had one of these in the front.
Yep.
Now, it's okay to leave more space than what we've left here between your plants because they will fill in. You can use half as much and make 2 pots, but
Yep.
we're just kind of trying to show you what you can do. All right, here's the lobelia. All right, so now everything is put in and spread out. Now we're going to fill in, and you want to kind of tip the plant a little bit, tip the plant up and try to get some soil between those roots and the side of the pot, because just imagine it's like the plant's nerves, and you just
wanna
put
make
them
sure
right
you
up against this pot
cover
that's going to
all-
get hot.
Cover all the roots. Just make sure all the
Yeah.
roots are covered.
Fill right up to the top, even with the top of the pot. Go. First we'll get all the soil in. And then as you get around each root, let's just imagine that this is in the soil. You can stick your fingers just on either side of the plant and just kind of push down a little bit. You want to get the soil just tamped down a little bit next to that plant because you don't want air pockets. You want the plant to have air in the soil, but you don't want air pockets because that's not good for the plants. Did you get that over there? I think we're looking pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right. It gets a little messy at this point, and at the end you just kind of
Get a little dirt off.
tap
Make it look
everything
nice.
off. All right.
Okay.
Oh, very good. And
And now
the last thing
you need
is
some water.
Yeah, and you, if you're doing this at home, you might want to move it to where you want it to be now before you water. And you can also put a little bit of water in the soil before you put the plants in. That might help it attract the water a little bit more.
So we're just going to water a
My
tinge.
faulty water pot.
Making a little mess.
Making a big mess. All right. It's all right. It's nature. It's forgiving. All right, and there we have it. Our little
And then you have your container garden.
ta-da.
Ta-da.
So, we'll see how this grows. If something grows and it's, higher than you want or not the way you liked it, just pop it out. Put it somewhere else. Especially these perennials, you could pop them out and put them in the ground earlier.
So if something doesn't work for you, you realize you don't like it, switch it out.
Yeah, you get to learn.
You can do it, throughout the summer. As something is passed, take it out, put in something that blooms in the summertime. After the summer's over, take it out, put something that blooms in the fall.
Yep, again, go to your own garden. Maybe you'll find some black-eyed Susans or something like that. That would make a nice tall yellow along with the purple petunias. Ooh, that would be really nice. Ooh, so many good ideas. So this pot again is going to be in the full sun. It's probably going to need to be watered daily. I usually just stick my finger right into the soil, up to the knuckle or so. And if it's cool, then that means that it still has some moisture in there. You don't want your pots to be soaking wet all the time.
Because they get root rot.
Yeah.
And then they will die.
And there's a little bit more risk of that with a pot that doesn't have a hole in the bottom of it, which is this one,
And this one.
this one, and this one. So that's fine. You can work with that. This is a shade pot. If it's in the shade, it's probably a little more protected. Not going to get as much water. And there's more roots.
Underwatering is better than overwatering.
Yes,
To an
actually.
extent.
Actually, yes.
Yes.
So, there's a little bit more rocks and drainage in the bottom of
Yes.
these so that when that water comes, it's sitting in the bottom and it's not touching the soil. And these also have that bag of styrofoam in there too, which lifts it up a little bit. So hopefully these roots are going to kind of go out and stay up in the top 2/3 of the pot.
And you can put anything in. Like we said, this one's for sun. This one is pot sun, shade. This one actually, we've never seen one like this before, but we decided to do an edible one.
Yep, herbs
This
and
has
veggie type
herbs
thing.
and veggies. It's got
We have parsley, is
dill,
dill. The dill's going to get way tall here. Right now, the chives,
the chives.
these are going to have these beautiful purple burst,
So you can-
dandelion type
yeah.
flowers. We have some thyme. We have Swiss chard. That'll probably get tall too. We've got a little spinach and some onions back here.
We've got all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of great things.
So you can literally put anything you want. Okay, is that it?
So that is pretty much the
As
basics.
they say, as the kids say, easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Okay.
We hope you'll try this at home yourselves. And
We're going to drive around and see if you do.
So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.